Okay, looks like I'm live. Okay, I can mute myself. Okay. I don't know why I'm in the dark, but it just feels right. So I'm gonna stay in the dark. I'm gonna talk only until 8 o'clock. I can see the time this time. And it's not gonna make a lot of sense, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'll start off with I watched a video about chosen ones and stuff, specifically something that I didn't finish, and there are two parts to it. So it was just on my spirit, my soul. I felt right now is a good time. I love the number 7. It's God's number, completion. There's a lot of things. So you have until 8 o'clock before I hit end. And the video, she was talking about mutations and, in the past 4 years with the whole reset, whatever, like however she phrased it with the CV and everything with that. She was talking about like mutations and like how we could do things just like you see in the movies. Two movies that she had mentioned specifically were Us and the show that she had mentioned, I guess it wasn't a movie, Stranger Things. So if you know about that, there's like a in between, upside down, tethered, you know. And there's a great quote in the start of at the very beginning of the movie Us that you cannot find on YouTube and on the internet. Just that quote alone, and it's very powerful. I remember that quote more than most of the movie, but the movie really came from that quote. I'm sure that if that quote didn't exist, the movie wouldn't have existed because Jordan Peele is just that in tune. He's at that high level frequency, and Stranger Things is just kind of like an upside down, but the tether had way more of a impact with me. The tether world. Not to get any any spoilers. I'm trying not to do that just with my life. It's okay to spoil. So those were the two. She said Us for the movie and then Stranger Things for the show. And I was like, okay, how was I gonna explain? Because I didn't finish the video, but she was talking about mutations and things that just like you'll be able to do or we can already do, unlock like the keys are within us, like unlock the right part of our brain and how, some people on the spectrum or the ADHD, autism, whatever, they can do extraordinary things. There's a video that I saw way younger of an autistic dude where he gets in a helicopter, a little black, or not little black boy, but a black, young man gets in a helicopter. He has autism, flew around like a city once and came down like in like a 15-minute ride and drew with so much detail the city of like New York or something like that. And it was beautiful. But he was autistic, so he didn't communicate in the same way. But it was impressive because not everyone can do that. So regardless of you're autistic or you look a certain way, if you do something impressive, depending on how you look or how you come across, it'll be taken with a grain of salt, which I always find interesting. But to stay on topic, she was talking about mutations and what you can do, the abilities and stuff like that. So I was immediately thought of X-Men, but that's not the example I'm going to give. Because X-Men, they have mutants and stuff like that. Wolverine, Cyclops, they have abilities from a mutated gene. And this is like in the movies, the comic books, everybody knows about it. So she gave two examples. My birthday is June 27th, but my favorite number is 7. So I'm going to give 7 examples. And I was so happy I came up with this. For whatever reason, all of these, because her movie example had, Jordan Peele has a whole universe, and Stranger Things, they have multiple seasons. All of my examples, they're mainly TV shows or had a TV show, but they were all canceled for whatever reason. These examples came to me, and these like all were canceled at some point. So I'm going to rattle them off. Start with Limitless. It was a movie at first, which popped in my head. This was the only one with, well, actually, there's 2 with the movie. Limitless had a show that didn't do as well as the movie, in my opinion. There was, I gotta say the other movie at the very end. So Limitless, the movie that had a show that was canceled. There was a show that is called Tower Prep on Cartoon Network, a real life show, not a cartoon show, when they had seeing real people. That was canceled. Only 1 season. There is a show called Persons Unknown. Only one season, had Chadwick Boseman in it. Rest in power, rise in power. One season, it was canceled. There was a show, this is for, so Limitless, Tower Prep, Persons Unknown, Alphas. I knew I wanted to write this down, but I just wanted to start recording. Limitless. I'm thinking of the movie, the second one. Limitless. Oh, I remember. So Limitless, Persons Unknown, Alphas, Tower Prep. There was another show called Wayward Pines, which Terrence Howard was in the first season. Again, canceled. And then the last one, it's going to make me so upset. I did not write this down. So we have Limitless, Wayward Pines, Persons Unknown, Tower Prep, Alphas, and man, I'm literally thinking of the last one that I want to say, but there's one more. Limitless, the movie, Tower Prep, the show, Wayward Pines, the show, Persons Unknown, the show, Alphas, the show, and there was another canceled show. All these are real life. It wasn't a cartoon or anything. Canceled show. For whatever reason, I cannot think, and it's making me upset. If I don't get to 7, it's going to throw the whole video off, so I don't care if this takes 50 minutes of me thinking. I will not do this again, so bear with the live. Wayward Pines, Persons Unknown, Alphas, Limitless, Tower Prep, canceled shows that I love to watch. I get upset when they cancel shows that I love too. Oh man, I knew I should have wrote this down, but I didn't. Mutations. Let's focus on mutations. Things that you can do. Unknown, Limitless, Alphas, Wayward Pines. Persons Unknown, Alphas, Limitless, Wayward Pines, Tower Prep. Canceled show, a whole canceled show, a series. I watch a lot of shows, but also I should have written it down. That's my fault. Not sorry, but still. Because the example she gave was Us and Stranger Things. Why didn't I write it down? It's gotta be the number, or else I'm not gonna do this. And I won't give the last one because it won't make sense without giving the first. Wayward Pines, Persons Unknown, Tower Prep, Limitless, Alphas. I'm so upset. All right, if it comes to me, it comes to me. So I'll do the 5, and then I'll give the last 2. So, man, I really hate this for me right now. So she was really talking about the, whatchamacallit, the mutations and stuff. So, I'm still thinking. Oh, wow, it just came to me. Okay. My dumbass said the title in the, I don't know if I said vibrations, frequency, whatever, but there was a show that had one season called Frequency. So I'll explain all of them. And the last one is a show that I had the idea for, with the spin-off movie and everything. I didn't have like a full like manuscript or, script written out, but I had all the ideas, character ideas, titles and everything. And the title of the show series, there was going to be 3 seasons only. It was going to be called, I settled on Awakened. And I'll explain this one. It had 1 spin-off movie, I believe. And it was 4 main characters. And the spin-off movie was going to be about a female. Like I wanted like everyone in it. Like I wanted my third favorite, my top three artists in it, Young and May, to play a major character. There was a lot of people that I thought was gonna be dope. It was a superhero like show, but the thing was, it was called Awaken. So I came up with this idea in 2016 and then like refined it probably like last year or the top of this year and deleted it. I think it was last year in 2023 I deleted it. But Awaken. So each season, the first season you see them have powers and then they awaken at the end of the season. So the second season they awaken. So when it's awaken, you upgrade. So if your basic power from the start was you can have fire, from the palms, like think of Pyro and X-Men, just like from the fire, not manipulating fire, but you can emit it like a firebender from Avatar or whatever. You can just do the palms and then it's maybe not that hot. The second season, you can do the palms and your feet. So like you can like fly. And then the third season, you can engulf it in your whole body and do whatever. That was one character. Another one was like a technology person. This was going to be the one with the spinoff. She would have been able to use, and this wasn't the Young and May character, but she would have been able to use the whatchamacallit, like any technology like within a certain, range, very close range, like to her like ability. Like she could use a calculator and use it to like do something crazy. Second season, the range like and she was a genius. The range would get a lot further, like the whole entire room, or just outside of a whole entire room, and she'd be smarter. She could do it faster. The third season, she was like basically damn near telekinetic. She can do it like pretty much citywide, like go through the grid and everything. That was the second character. There was a third character. That was basically it. So every season, like you upgrade, you awaken, and that was what it is. And then the spin-off movie for that was just gonna be her before she found the three other people in her squad. Like I had the villains planned out and everything. The villain for season three was the creepiest fucking dude. But whatchamacallit, that was one. So when it gets to another episode, another show called Limitless, let's do that one. I want to do alphas or persons unknown, but we'll do Limitless. When you have Limitless, there's a pill, gives your brain, like kind of like Lucy, you unlock 100% of your brain, but instead of Lucy, you're not like, no spoilers again. It's not like Lucy. 100% of your brain with the Limitless pill unlocks your full potential, but you can have crazy memory recall from stuff years and decades ago. If you see someone fighting on TV and they use perfect form and you've never fought in your life and you take the Limitless pill, if someone's about to fight you, you can use what you just saw, and use it exactly. That's how the Limitless pill works. You could listen to like an audiobook in a different language that's teaching you Spanish, for example, while jogging. So you're half listening to it, and then you go to Mexico and they're all speaking Spanish and you speak perfect Spanish because you were half listening to something. That like you have crazy problem solving skills. Like it really helps. Works better if you're already smart, but in the movie, like it really like boosts you like completely. Another show, Persons Unknown, or I know Alphas. Just like X-Men, there's mutants, but they have like a mutant gene, so there's different powers and abilities. Well, they said abilities, they didn't say powers. And again, like they could do better and better. Like if they had a newcomer and like, hey, you can go higher with this, like you can get better and better. There was a dude who had like a fight or flight adrenaline symptom or whatever, that he can like activate it. So like he was able to like move a car out of the way just by pushing it. He had like basically enhanced strength. There was a woman who could compel you, if you've seen Vampire Diaries, say something like, hey, like you pulled me over, you want to give me a ticket, take the ticket, put it in your mouth and eat it, like, and the cop would do it. Just different abilities and stuff like that. Another show There was person. Well, let's do Tower Prep. It'll explain Persons Unknown, Wayward Pines, and what was the other one? Persons Unknown, Wayward Pines, and Tower Prep better. So I forgot what I was just gonna say. I was gonna do Tower Prep. So Tower Prep is a canceled show, and you can watch the trailer. So I'll just explain the trailer of let's say like the main character. He was a high schooler. There was four main characters, but the main character was a high schooler, and he always felt a half step above everyone else. Like he could predict. They called it a preflex. He could predict something like like a few seconds right before it happened, and right before he went to the school Tower Prep, where no one knows how they get there or how they got there or how they woke up in bed there. His mom, he's having a conversation with his parents, and his mom says like, you haven't even begun to know the abilities and like who you are. And he's just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like that's a weird thing to say, you know what I mean? Like you gonna say that. And he's playing a video game, and a strange like avatar comes in, she's talking to him or whatever, and they have a quick conversation, and then she leaves, and then he plays like a song, and he's hearing like a weird noise in like his headphones and the speakers. So he turns it up, and he's trying to hear it, and it's like when your phone is tapped and you hear like the click click click, but it was like radio static at the same time, like a combination of that. And then he just like goes to sleep because the noise gets louder. It's like a tone, and he wakes up in the school, and his roommates. It's like a college dorm room or whatever. His roommates aren't helpful. They're jerks, and they're picking on him or whatever. And he's wondering like how he got there. He eventually tries to escape, and he runs in the woods way out far from the school. And there's this giant wall that is pretty much around the entire school. And the whole point is you're trying to figure out how you got there. There's other people with abilities. There's a girl that can just look at you, like read your whole facial expressions and see if you're tense, see if you're hiding something, see if you're lying, just by like the slight like smirks or like your eyes like flickering or twitching. Like she could read you like a book. She could literally read your body language. There's another girl character who can copy your voice. So we have AI problems, artificial intelligence, but she could literally like, if there was a voice recognition thing, she could get you to do it. Or if she wanted someone to think you were down the hallway running that way, she could throw her voice and say your voice and something that you would say down that way. Like she was that good. She could put on disguise and pretend to be you, just with your voice. And then there was another dude who, like the compelling, and like Vampire Diaries or the Alphas, he could like talk his way out of any fight, any situation, which is funny because no spoilers, no spoilers in the movie in the show, but he can talk his way out of anything. So that was Tower Prep. The whole mystery of like how they get there and what's the whole purpose of the school, orientation, all that. Another show, Persons Unknown. This one had Chadwick Boseman in it. I saw this when it came out week to week, back when people watch TV instead of, stream stuff, like, and you had to wait week to week to week to week to week, the anticipation building and building. I watched this. So the season finale was crazy. And I don't know how to explain this one. I probably know how to explain Wayward Pines better than this one. Even the trailer, because it was so vague, it made me want to watch it, and I did watch it. But the trailer, I don't think it did it justice, but it did intrigue enough. But it didn't have enough ratings, so they canceled it. There wasn't even a season 2, even though the cliffhanger was there's going to be a season 2, which was horrible because there wasn't. So, like Tower Prep, very different from Wayward Pines, but just like Tower Prep, there'd be people in the real world doing normal things, but instead of like a tone, they actually get like snatched up, I believe. Like I didn't watch the trailer in a minute, or the show in a minute. But they get like snatched up or abducted or whatever, and they wake up in a room, and they don't have roommates or anything, but they get out and there are people in other rooms who also don't have roommates, and they're trying to figure out how they get there. And it's a hotel. It's massing as a hotel. Like the bellhop is totally in on it. He's not able to answer most of their questions. just very like, why would people do this? There's cameras everywhere in this hotel. A lot of people are hearing and listening and watching their every move. And eventually they start to figure out. So again, I haven't seen a lot of the show, but I wouldn't want to spoil anyway. There's people on the outside trying to help, unlike Tower Prep people. I mean, okay, no spoilers. There was like one character that I remember, a few characters on the outside in Tower Prep trying to help the inside people at that school. And then there wasn't a wall, I remember, in Persons Unknown, but there was definitely something like if you tried to escape, you or a person you love would be gone. And they quickly found that out. So Chadwick Boseman did make it to the end, which I was happy. And they're like, welcome to level 2. It was a crazy like cliffhanger, and I was like, how are they not gonna have a second season? But again, every single one, even the one that I wrote, I'm not gonna do the show or movie anymore. Like everything that I'm saying is canceled. And then the seventh one, Wayward Pines. Now I'm gonna watch all of Terrence Howard's movies, and I'm saying that because he did retire from acting. But I do remember like seeing like him in the trailer for this show, and I was like, oh, because the trailer was fantastic. Probably the best out of all of these that I'm listing. This had the greatest trailer because it was so intriguing. Like Terrence Howard, like even in the trailer, was just like, whoa, I gotta watch this. And it was just mystery everywhere. They did make a season 2, I believe, but with a whole different main actor. And Terrence Howard wasn't the main actor; he was like a main supporting actor though. But I forget the real main actor's name in the first season. But they had changed the main actor and like the character. Terrence Howard wasn't. I don't remember him being in the second season. Yeah, no spoilers. Never mind, no spoilers. But the first season, this was a like officer but FBI, like he was a top like FBI agent, and something happened and he ends up in this town. I remember like him driving and something happened, get into an accident or whatever, and he just wakes up in this town that he's never heard of. The people are, they seem so normal, but he's never heard of this town. He's wondering where it is, and they're like, "Oh, you're in Wayward Pines, whatever." And Terrence Howard is the sheriff, and Terrence Howard's just so chill. But you can tell, even if you've seen the trailer. But if you haven't seen the trailer, just watching episode 1, you could tell there's more about this town. And the FBI agent doesn't remember a lot. He sees someone from his past in this town, and she's basically telling him, "Don't ask questions. This is just how it is. Try to live a normal life, whatever." And this one is probably the most, would I say, sci-fi-esque? I would say the most sci-fi-esque of like explanations, even within the first season, of like what happened. More than Persons Unknown, more than Alphas. I'm trying to remember all the shows I had put. Persons Unknown, Alphas. This is Wayward Pines. My canceled one. Tower Prep. Persons Unknown, Alphas, Tower Prep, Awaken, Limitless. Bruh, I should be writing these down. Alphas, Limitless, Awaken, Tower Prep, Wayward Pines, Persons Unknown. I don't know if I just said that. But yeah, all of them. And I'll leave it at that. So what I want to say, because I'm definitely getting off at exactly probably 7:59 instead of 8. All of these combined should shape the explanation. The canceled has nothing to do with it. I just found that as a strange coincidence. And when I was trying to come up with like examples that she came up with in a video, and again, I'm gonna watch this video right after. What I'm about to say is gonna be crazier than you're like that even coincidence. You're like, okay, you're gonna think that had nothing to do with anything, and it might not have, but for whatever reason, I wanted to put that. I didn't make a part 8 yet, but I'm just gonna do this live because I'm not gonna be able to explain everything. And fast forward, if you have watched part 7 on this channel, once I get kicked out, I'm living in my car, and eventually in 2020, I noticed something, but it's also in a combination of an interaction that I had with someone I know or used to know more, a family member. And I can honestly say I've never had felt like both of these ever. So when I had like thought like, all the recording and everything happened um in real time, it hit me in 2020. I realized like my first bipolar episode, they could have been watching like that same year in 2018 just in case, and then it got cameras everywhere, rooms, jobs, whatever. Um But in 2020 is when it hit me that like, oh, they could have put it in my car and because I was living in a nice car. Could have put it in this rearview mirror. Now I'm thinking, whatever. But not rearview mirror, side mirrors, rearview mirrors, all that. Once it hit me that thought, I was literally outside, probably like an auto zone or something. Um, but in like one of those parking lots where you pull up to the side of the plaza. And what I was noticing, I felt like people were like just staring at me. And I was just sitting in the fucking car, and I just looked, and someone just looked away. Like, what the fuck? And I was putting things together, and I think I had saw it again with like another person, and I was like, hold up, it's been 2 years since a couple bipolar episodes. Maybe they're really watching me. So what did I do? I was like, what they would do, because I was thinking on the small level. I was like, and then gradually I was like, oh, they could be doing what I was showing up and showing out in my car, living in my car. So I would do crazy things. Um, if people really wanted to show, like I was really either making them happy if you were a female or pissing you off if you were anybody else. So what I did probably started both. The very first thing I did, like as soon as like I was like looking, I saw two people. I was like, okay, I got I was in my car. I started driving around. I took my phone, not even videotaping. I was just like this, holding it. But I'm sure they if there was a whole database of this footage, not everyone has seen this. And if you have, wow, you guys are really, you stepped away from your ego and just put it all out there, but I doubt it. So, so you can just see teeth. That's awesome. So, what's it called? I had, there in the side of the building of the AutoZone or whatever, there was a giant, when I say giant, fucking like, imagine 5 cars, 6, 7 cars just like really close together, not like in a line, just like like not piled up either, but just close like in a circle in a ball, but not like I don't know, just like congregated together, squeezed together of a giant puddle. I start driving around that puddle in the parking lot, and I am holding my phone and like as like this, but it's not being filmed. I'm not recording like in the camera app or whatever. It was an iPhone. It was the iPhone, my favorite iPhone at the time, the iPhone 10. I loved it because of the 3D touch. Now they don't have the pressure. It's more haptic feedback. Anyway, and I just had the I was filming the puddle. Guess what I felt as I was doing this the whole time? Not only happiness, but like the confirmation goes back to like the Chosen One videos, um, with like the mutation and stuff, and like she was talking about like things on different frequencies, and you know, honestly, I felt, and this is gonna be like you'd be like, oh, bro, like with the family member thing. That's what's so funny, bro. I literally felt when I had like this, like the water, whatever, because after I got from this, I was driving around. And anytime I saw water, I just like flipped the camera and like show the water like of like a pond, a lake, whatever. And I felt it every single time. Just confirmation every single time. So I felt like something had to be, and I didn't think about it too much. I was just like, I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Not because of the video camera, but I guess kind of with the video camera, but it wasn't even that. As soon as I put the I'm trying to think how I should preface this. So I'll come right back to it in 30 seconds. When I had a job, the most job that I hated, grocery store, that I will not be named because I worked at 2 grocery stores. This is the one that was the worst. I had my favorite boss, but the worst job ever. Um, I asked a question to a coworker, and I had said something like, so I'm sorry if this is triggering. Why is the word moist not okay with females, but it's okay with like men? Men don't care. And every female in my life, if that, because I don't even say it, but they'll bring it up and like, oh, don't say it. Like I actually said it actually to this boss, like not on purpose. She's like, oh, don't use that word. Females of all ages don't like it. And I was like telling him, I was like, isn't that like strange? Like I really said, I think saying that makes a woman not the M word, but just wet. So like flip the M to the W. And he's like, that's interesting. A lot of things I say, people just say kind of interesting, or they don't say something else. They don't really go deep into it. But I mean, I don't have to say the thing that happened way in the future at my last like 9 to 5 job because everyone saw there was cameras everywhere. But yeah, I would go that far. And when I had the confirmation of like that, every time the first time I had the video on that puddle just circling around, I literally felt that like my thighs were just soaked. Every time I drive around a pond, soaked. If I am the behind a car and I see a female in front and I was playing music, rap music, maybe sexual lyrics. For example, the song Waves by Kanye West. Step up in this bitch like I'm the one you bitch like. Yeah, I'm the one you bitch like. I would pull back the windshield wiper. Again, if they have footage of this, great, but I doubt it because they're egos. I would pull back the windshield wiper and let the things go the entire time. So like if you did look, because I'm playing loud music, windows down, whether it's the middle of winter, middle of summer, windows down. If it's snowing, windows down. If it's cold as fuck, windows down. You know, I'm pulling back the whole time, letting the spray hit the windshield. Just spray. That's just the wave. Waves don't die. Like, if you know that song, the first 30 seconds is like, whoa. Imagine that if like you are a female and you're looking up that song. I literally will start the song at a red light and be like, okay, boom, play. Pull back on the windshield wiper fluid. Hold it. Hold it. I went through so many bottles of windshield wiper fluid in that time, in that homeless period. Like I had a job living in my car, and I'd be like, okay, more windshield wiper fluid. I would buy bottles and keep them in my trunk. In my trunk, bro. You have no idea how much. When I say I was on one, I did not give a fuck because I was like, I gotta be right. I got to be right. And I guess I will speak on the thing first before I get to the family member because the family member is gonna be like the damn, like the dam that bursts everything. Um, I gotta explain this one first. So the one that you guys should have footage of was when I was working at the small store in the mall because I had two jobs in the mall. There was a huge store and then there was a small store, and there was an employee, and I didn't know how to say this to her, but I eventually got it out that like if I was like reincarnated into another life and I knew what I knew, I would literally like be a problem child to the point where I would go first year of every class, beginning of every class, say high school, for example, freshman year, everyone's like introducing themselves. Like, okay, my name is Christopher. Like, it's my turn. My name is Christopher. I eat French fries every day. It's my favorite food, and I love to drink water. I would get up. I mean, you're already standing because you're introducing yourself. I'd walk to the front of the class. I would undo the bottle of water, and I would pour the entire bottle of water on the floor, let it spill, and then walk back to my seat and sit down. And they'd have to be in silence because they'd be like, "What the fuck is this guy on?" But every day I would have a bottle of water with me. As I walk into class, I would get in the front of the classroom, drink a few sips, walk to my desk. Every single time, go in the front of class, drink a few sips, walk to my desk. Like that being associated me with water. I had a job where I had worked with the water company selling like, water systems and like water softeners and stuff, which is the job that I had when I was homeless to be able to buy the windshield fluid, the wiper fluid or whatever. And I told this employee at this small job that I would do this. She was like, "Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you do this?" And I knew she knew, but like her being her and the situation being the situation, she had to play the role. And I just put it out there. I was like, and she I knew she was she could have been really offended, but also like on behalf of all females, you know, when you give secrets away, it's not great, especially if you are suffering. So whether it's a secret or not, I was like, I don't care if I'm wrong. I would, even if I'm the only one who believes it and I look the craziest, I would do that all the time. Just spill, 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 associate anything with water. You know, I would have a water job. I'd always have bottles of water on me. I'd be drinking bottles. Like, because like every year a female in school would have to focus, or every person around me in the job would have to focus, like going on dates, I need more water. Like if you go on a date, like as a, what do you call it, like a foreplay, not a foreplay, just to kind of get the idea there, like, hey, can you bring a wet floor sign? Like, okay, yeah, yeah, sure. And she's like, why do you need a wet floor sign? Like, oh, thank you, can you put it right behind her? Like, she's spilling on the seat, on the, like, literally, I would be a problem, bro. The problem that females all over the place never thought they would have, because, you know, when you turn on the faucet, when you turn on the shower, when you talk about water, man, I'm so thirsty. Even the opposite, it's dry outside. It's probably dry in here, bro. Like my underwear's super dry, my clothes are super dry. Like the opposite, literally antagonizing to the point where when I leave the room, the vicinity, the dryness would have been a thing of the past. You know what I mean? Like you would always associate with me, like with every time you see me for a while, what is he gonna do next? What is he gonna do next? Oh, that's him with the water bottle. Yeah, he's drinking it. Why are you always drinking water? Water's my favorite drink. Like it would be a problem, bro. All right. And I'm so serious about it. That like if that happened, I would just do that. Like if I was reincarnated and I had to, I would do that over and over and over and over. I would come up with my own water bottle company. It'd be titled Wonderfully Wet Water. Like it would be everything. Because WWW, wonderfully wet water, wonderfully, wonderful, like wonderfully wet. Like, okay, I'm not focused on pure. It would be pure, purified water. I'm not saying the best water, it's wonderfully wet water. It may seem redundant, but wet is not the M word. Wet is not the M word. I don't use the M word in my speech like ever. I just picked up that people, or females specifically, don't like it. I've never met a guy that doesn't like the M word, but for whatever reason, I would do that. I would go the distance. And she thought it was like ridiculous. She's like, I don't know why that would make a woman blank. She didn't use the M word. And I was like, this is just how I feel. And I'm being super authentic. Like I said, if anybody sees this as crazy, whether you're right or wrong, whether I'm right or wrong, that is just the mission that I'm on. Like that's like, you could not sway me from that, no matter how hard you try. It would be impossible, like for me to stop thinking that way in this reality, in this point in time. So I told her that. I think I like shook her hand or dapped her up, and then I left. It was a quick, because I had somewhere to be. I had to get back. Um, Living in a hotel at the time, as you guys know. But the thing was, whatchamacallit? Oh yeah, so the family thing. So take anytime I film the bottles of water using the same, method or whatever, not filming on the camera and recording video, but just showing, because it's 24/7 with this. Whether the phone's turned off, whether the cellular is turned off, the Wi-Fi is 24/7 with this. So it's like, regardless of whether, crazy or not, I just feel certain things. The time where it was the worst, I felt was with uh I was in the car at another job, like way after the story I just said with the girl and explanation, with me going like, I don't care if I'm crazy. This was still after the 2020 where I had filmed the first like puddle thing and everything, just going crazy with the windshield wiper. I had my car at the time, but I had just gotten arrested for speeding, and I had to be somewhere for work. I had to do a drug test, which I passed, and I had to get dropped off at a fast food restaurant, and I had to call this family member to pick me up, and she did. And this was a time where I was smoking weed, being homeless and everything. I really needed some stress reliever to cope with the situation. She picked me up, and I told her, like, my phone's about to die. Like, please, please. She's like, okay, yeah, give me an hour. Shows up. I'm happy. Um, she has weed. And again, a lot of this is confirmation because I've always heard about the strain of Blue Dream and I wanted to smoke Blue Dream. Never did. She had it in the car. I was like, bro, you have weed and it's Blue Dream? Oh my God, I always wanted to do this. That made me happy. First of all, her arriving made me happy. Her saying yes made me happy. Her arriving made me happy. Her having weed made me happy. Her having the strain that I've dreamt, no pun intended, of trying made me happy. She said I could play whatever songs that I wanted, and Pusha T, Kanye West, or Ye, Young and May, my favorite artists at the time. But I could play Pusha T in her car. Great speaker. She got a loudspeaker. I could turn it up. Made me happy. I was like, you're telling me I could? Oh my God. Like, I was on one. And she's like, all right, what happened? Like, why would you? I was trying to tell her 3 stories at once. One about a female that I wanted to, like, pursue and be my wife at the time. What happened that day of how I got arrested and how I got stranded there. And also about Pusha T. Because she was like, Pusha T? Like, no, I asked, Pusha T? And she's like, yeah, Pusha T. Like, what do you know about? I was like, what do you know about Pusha T? Like, yeah, clips, grinding. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was trying to tell her, go back and forth between Pusha T. I was playing my favorite song, Millions, by Pusha T. Because I was so on one, and people probably like, oh, you're probably going through a bipolar episode because you couldn't keep up. Bro, like, fuck all that, bro. Stop trying to put a person in a box at this point. Like, clearly my life is, just because you see it like in a box or in a square, whatever the fuck, it's not that. Like, get out of your own way type shit. I was trying to go back and forth between 3 different stories. My God, Pusha T, my crush who I wanted to be my wife, who I had, and that alone was crazy because I had met a person like this was another door-to-door job right before I had went to this, like, got dropped off and like was arrested or whatever. The night before, I was shadowing, or like going, like, I had like a buddy with the same like job as me, like we worked for the same company. We were knocking doors together, and we kind of tag team this one house. She opened the door, and she normally, like, people slam doors in your face, so I don't want to be interested or whatever. And it was so late at night anyway. She was a black female, granted older, but like, we were 2 dudes. This guy was a Mexican dude, really nice dude. He knew a rapper that I had never heard of, which was a great rapper. Um, called Money Man, and he said that was his favorite rapper. And I was like, oh, I never heard of him. I'll check him out. But she opened the door, and I said, you look exactly like this person that I want to be my wife, just older. And she's like, really? And I don't know, like, she very much so did, like, had the same style of hair, everything, lips, like everything. And she was so interested in that when you do door knocking or you have a pickup line with a woman, like, your first impressions matter. Like, that was what she hooked on, and I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just drawn to tell her, hey, you, for whatever reason, that's what you look like. And the other dude was trying to just ask her, trying to get the sale or whatever. But he knew, I knew that was the reason that she let us in. She let us into her house. Like, granted, we weren't sitting down. I don't remember us sitting down on her couch, but like, we were just in her house and we got the whole thing done. And she wanted to ask, after we got the whole thing done in like 5-10 minutes, about this girl. She's like, does she know you exist? Does she know about you? She was asking questions. That was one thing. I wanted to talk about Pusha T and Millions. That was another thing. I wanted to talk about, what was the third thing? Oh yeah, how I got stranded at the restaurant, how I got arrested and everything. Like, so many things. And I started laughing because I only took like 1, maybe 2 hits of the Blue Dream. But I started laughing because of going back to the feeling of my legs being wet. Every time so first of all, I started laughing because of I knew every answer for everything, like at the end of the story, was going to be crazy. She was like, wait, go back to like the crush. And then like I would tangent off to the whatever. Wait, go back to so how'd you discover Pusha T? Like what did you do that was so great? And then I would tangent off to wait. She would say this, go back to like, okay, so how did you get like your car? Like why don't you have your car? Because they impounded my car after I got arrested or whatever. Like she was trying to keep up. So I started laughing because I knew even though we had like a 45-minute ride back to where she was dropping me off, I started dying laughing because I knew every answer, like what do you call it? Like the conclusion and explanation to the end of these stories was like gonna be hilarious to me, and she probably would have thought I was insane. And I literally started laughing out loud, like like that, and it started chuckling. She's like, "What?" And then I started laughing even more. But every time I laughed, she kept saying "what?" Because I started laughing like louder and wasn't like responding back. And I was doing this for like probably like a good minute, full 60, 70 seconds. And she's like, "What?" And I'm playing the song Millions, and I kept feeling what I felt that she was feeling. And just my thighs was just soaked. And the more I kept laughing, it was just increasing. So that made me laugh too, because I was like, bro, she for real right now? I'm just laughing. I'm not even. So I guess like nervousness and excitement, fear, like anything that kind of changes that gets a female excited will cause that. And I say this because there was a study done that I had never seen, but there was a podcast talking about this, that for women, they were hooked up to like lie detectors or whatever, and like parts of their body part were hooked up to some stuff. And they did this test on men and women, and they showed like images and videos to men and asked what aroused them. Well, I don't have to quote air quote. That was proper. Aroused them or got them turned on or whatever. And what they said matched up way more times. Like, okay, this lady turned me on, or this type of whatever turned me on that video. This actress, whatever, turned me on. Or for them, if they were gay, this man turned me on, whatever. And it would be hitting on point every time, for not every time, so many times for the female, because of society and standards. They could show things like dogs, cats, like crazy things, which they did for the men. But the men were more like, but a female has to hide it. So I think that plays in with the moist, because in this study, it showed a lot of times that if they had showed a man that they said they weren't attracted to, and they said verbally, I wasn't attracted to that, but the results said like, well, the neurons, your brains, and when we hooked it up to the lower body parts, like it says you were, they will stand on business, 10 toes, die with the lie. If you've seen the movie Focus, that they were not aroused, even though everything points to that. So her, like just so many things. Like, I literally felt, and in this video, when I said like from the very start with the chosen ones, she had in another video that I watched recently, either today or yesterday, about like the different frequencies that people can like, or no, not that. Um, Whoever, like she was talking about in that video, she was like, I feel like either like either if it's a man or if it's a woman, you have more feminine energy, and like that you're able to kind of understand certain things. It was as soon as I did like the puddle, the first puddle, when I was like, oh, I think they're watching, boom. I felt it because I kept doing it. So what I'm thinking in the minds of the females, because a guy, I really don't give a fuck. In the minds of the females, once I did the puddle thing the very first time, and I kept doing it, I'm sure they first instantly saw it. They're like, what the fuck's going on? And then I was driving around and kept it on. I was driving around there for like, I don't know how many minutes. And I thought it was hilarious. And it just increasingly, I kept feeling the thigh wetness or whatever. Really, if I think about certain things that I do, as you guys know, I've been doing certain things. It was kind of like that when I was homeless in my car. Like I was writing on the what do you call it, the carpet, like pens and markers on the top, so I could sit my phone up top, and like people could see the words in the writing. I would like do things to songs while driving, like throwing bows. Like I was very disrespectful when I was homeless and no one was around me in the vicinity. But if you wanted to tap in to be like, what the fuck is this dude doing? If you were a guy, you could be feeling very disrespected. If you're a female, you would almost feel like this was made for me because I was like ahead of my time, but then I was also like, you know, not thinking how far this went because it was 2 years later. It was 2 years later, but now it's 6 years going on 7 years later. So like the jump up and like people being planted, information here and there, and the feeling, the frequency or whatever of like, oh, I gotta be right because this person wouldn't act this way. This person wouldn't dodge this question. This person wouldn't react so fast, so suddenly to this question or this reaction, this move. This person wouldn't do nothing in this situation. Like over the past coming up like years, it had been more and more of like, oh, I gotta be way right. I gotta be way right. And like a lot of times it could have seemed like I have been dormant, even like when I had lived back in my parents' house, like of okay, he's clearly not, you know, on that type of time no more because I was going through a lot. I was trying to not lose my job and get fired. I'm trying to stay off of the weed because I'm gonna get kicked out again. I already been kicked out 6, 7 times. You know what I mean? Like, but there had been moments, like even when I was working at the fast food place, of like, yo, there was a time where I played my favorite song Millions. I'm sure there's footages everywhere. And it just hit me while I was doing the dishes at this fast food restaurant. I was high though. I had smoked weed. And my boss at the time, she's like, all right, as long as you can get the job done, like you're good. I was like, all right, cool. Smoke weed, come back. I wasn't doing the dishes for a minute. I was like dancing, like, oh man, cameras is on me. There's McDonald cameras on me. I didn't care about this when I had other jobs. I knew there was cameras, but I really didn't care to that point because it had just hit me. But then again, it left me because, I'm moving from job to job. I'm stressed out. There was a time where I was outside, didn't sleep all night. So like, even though I knew the world and the flesh and everything and the worldly things was keeping me like, oh, chill out, calm down, you ain't all that. But I knew, but they're like, nah, you really don't know. But I knew, but they're like, nah, you really, but I do, you know what I mean? It was kind of like that. So that's why it was kind of hard to explain to the female family member who had picked me up of like what was, like how to stay on track. Cause I had the three, I'm sure a doctor would diagnose as the grandiose thinking, like the bipolar, like he's all over the place, bipolar episode, like the weed is a trigger, blah, blah, blah. But that's because they're trying to put it in a box because it's easier to categorize something that you understand. And the excitement of not like the spontaneous, whatever, like, what do you call it? I mean, this gets not too much off track, but like the girl that likes the bad boy, the excitement of a bad boy, but they want a good man who can provide. They like the bad boy because that's the exciting, that's what is appealing, that's what's sexual. The prestige, the stigma of the bad boy is fun. There's no, what's the word? It's like when you have a honeymoon stage, it's like it feels like it could always be fun and exciting. There's no like boring down periods, like stop lag periods. But the good guy that you can predict or whatever, they get cheated on. Whether they say nice guys finish last, they get cheated on. But the bad boy, all the women want him, whatever. Like the illusion of I can never have him or I can never control him is exciting. That's why people watch like the websites with the crazy videos because it's exciting. You know what I mean? But like putting in a box or the expected, like there's you're expected every time to show up. You're like clockwork. It's predictable. It's less exciting. Like a 9 to 5, you know you're gonna get paid if you show up to work every day for 2 weeks. You know what the paycheck's looking like. But a sales job, who you're gonna see that day, who you're gonna interact with that day, how much money you can make that month. It's more exciting. Whether you have a good month or a bad month, it's unpredictable. So you could be a great salesperson or a horrible one, but you can learn from it because it's exciting. You can't learn too much. You can still learn a lesson just by, coasting here. That's why I said the bipolar with the ups and downs. You could still learn a lesson, but is that lesson going to serve you and fulfill you and your purpose? That's the difference where people don't want to, because now we get into abstract. Well, it's okay to put things in the box when it's under society's like box, but when it gets into abstracts, now only society can say, well, every person's different. do what you feel. I would recommend this because now it's outside the box. You can only speak in platitudes and hypotheticals and if I were yous. But if when it's in that box and like you can check box, like you're applying for a job, your name, your race. Oh, this person's black. I don't want to hire him. Oh, this person has a white sounding name. They show up, they're black. Didn't expect that. Well, maybe let's see how black they are. Are they speaking properly? Do they have a ghetto? You know what I mean? Like now it's a box because what you initially thought, seeing the name and you know what I mean? When it's like that, it's different. But when it's like crazier things, and I say crazy, using that word, not in a negative term, things that people can't control, predict, or don't have the full explanations, even the words for. Like when you're a kid and you don't have the words for something, like how do you feel? I'm sad. They might feel sad that they lost a puppy or sad that they broke their favorite toy. Those are two different levels of sadness that words like depression or feeling of loss, a kid doesn't have that. But when you get older, if you still have the childlike mentality, but you have words that society can understand and they're powerful enough and creative enough to kind of break barriers like this, now you could be a problem because, oh, that box that we had diagnosed, like he had this 3 different bipolar episodes, but he's making a video like this after 6, 7 years of what he went through. They can't put that in the box, and that's their fault. That's not my fault. God is great all the time, but it's their fault for trying to think everything can fit into what they think should fit into, not can. Because anything's possible through God, and they're not thinking hard enough if they're thinking boxes or limitations. You can break through ceilings, like the song Millions. Millions in the ceiling. Like, this should sound like God, don't it, bro? Like this is some godly shit. But I'm gonna end it right now. Shout out to my God. Um, this video wouldn't have happened if he didn't let it happen. So what do I put in the comments? God makes no mistakes. This video happened for a reason. Amen.